Hi, my name is Beth Krantz. I have produced a pattern to make what I call a Lovie. It is a prosthesis for a mastectomy patient. It fits inside the bra. The flat side fits against the skin that needs protection. There is a website on the internet called knittedknockers.org. I would encourage you to look at it, review the numerous videos that they have. I chose to call mine a Lovie because I've never called my breast anything like a knocker, so mine are called Lovies. Personal choice. I started making these by knitting them, but as I found that it took an awful lot of time to knit a pair, I decided to try a crochet pattern. I looked at the crochet patterns online and I thought I could do better, of course, so I tried my hand. I've given these to the different clinics in Eau Claire, Wisconsin, and they seem to like them, and now I'd like to show the video of how to create my pattern. I start out by a magic circle. I increase, and you can see here, this is what is different from mine to others patterns that I've seen. My increase is at the vertex of the triangle, and it's a half double crochet, chain one, half double crochet. Therefore, I can see where I need to increase. So as I'm crocheting around, I don't need to count until I get to the vertex and I can see that I am at the chain one step. I have now a sample of each of the sizes that I'm going to make for my clinics. This is a size B. This is a size A. You can see that they are a little bit different, about a half an inch. Here is a size C, and these are the two sizes that the one clinic wants. The other clinic wants C's and B's. So I will make these two sizes. I buy my yarn at resale stores because it's cheaper. So therefore I don't always know the type of yarn that I'm using. I try to pick something that's soft and that's 2-ply or sometimes a little bit less. Sock yarn sometimes works. You need something soft. If you are going to knit them for the website, Knitted Knockers, you need to use their prescribed yarn, and you can send it to them in pairs. They'll do the sizing. It's a great organization. The one video said that they send out 400 a week. My prayer is that the women that use these knitted knockers know their Savior and find comfort through Him in this time of trouble in their life. I pray as I'm creating them, and I hope that those thoughts and prayers reach to the clients that receive them. Please listen to the rest of the video if you're interested in knowing how to create my Lovie. Let me just say a few words about the tools that I'm using, my hook size, my yarns, and so forth. I have experimented quite a bit with using a large hook, this is a size J, and using smaller hooks to see the difference in the softness of the product. This particular piece was made with either a G or an F, I can't remember. I like the yarn. I have used that several times, but notice how very close this is. The stitches are very close. This is a similar yarn, but I did it with a size J, and it's so much softer. Now these are just my preferences. There are no rules about this, but in the end, you want a soft product. I buy my yarns, as I will tell you later, from resale stores. I have different ones that I have liked. These products, Bernat baby coordinates, are always nice and soft. I have found some baby yarn to be scratchy, and so I'm not going to use that. So make sure you're feeling at the store whether that's soft or not. Here we've got a baby jacquard by the same company, nice and soft, and I think it's going to be real pretty with the variegation of the threads, colors. Okay, let's get started. Let's start with the magic circle. Everyone makes these differently, but you can choose your method and get the circle started. Inside of the magic circle, you are going to single crochet 6 single crochets. I am a loose knitter and crocheter, but starting a project is always difficult because you have so little to hang on to. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I think that's 6. I'm going to pull the beginning thread tight, and you have your circle. That first stitch is always difficult because it's tight, but you are going to, in your first row, increase the 6 stitches to 12. I am using thread that actually has 5 different threads to it. And I have taken my example out so many times that my thread is not acting like it did at first. The threads are separating. But I do like this yarn, and it makes for a very nice, soft finished project. All right, so end of first round. I have a nice little circle. It's got 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. The second row is where you are going to start seeing a triangle shape created. Single crochet 3, and in the next stitch I'm going to make a half double crochet, chain 1, and then come back and make another half double crochet in the same stitch. This is going to create a vertex, one of the vertexes of the triangle. Continuing around, you're going to single crochet 3, and I'm at the corner now, so I'm going to half double crochet, chain 1, and half double crochet all in the same stitch. Finishing off this round, I'm going to single crochet 3 and then make my final point by half double crochet, chain 1, half double crochet. I like to do most of my crocheting in front of the TV, and I didn't want to have to count each row because it's very important that you have the same number of stitches for every side. So therefore, I've got that space, that chain 1, so that I know where to do my increases. The next row, I am going to single crochet 4, and then I'll get to the vertex of my triangle, or the corner, whatever you'd like to call it, and I'm going to do my increase by that same half double crochet, chain 1, half double crochet. Going on to the next side, I'm going to single crochet the same number, and that happens to be 4 in this round. You're seeing the pattern. The next row is going to be 5, you guessed it. And here I am increasing and going on to the last side. Now, I want to mark the first stitch of every row. So there again, when I'm mindlessly crocheting in front of the TV, I don't have to do too much thinking. One more. And then I'm I'm already in my space. Sorry. Can't talk videotape, and crochet all at the same time with a lot of success. Okay, here are my 3 vertexes. You can see that I have a spiraling snail here. That's another indication that you're at the top of your piece. But I like to mark the first stitch so that I don't have to think about it. So I'm going to do a couple of crochets into the next row. I'm going to go back to the first stitch of this row and grab my beginning thread and just bring it through. So now I can see that this is where I start my process of going around and around. They have these cute little markers, plastic safety pin thingies, and I love using them, except I never have them here when I begin a project. So I always will have this thread coming out from the beginning center, magic circle, and so this is what I've used. Okay, I'm on 5 single crochets per side. One problem I did have, and I've started over so many times, is notice that the stitch right before my space 1, my chain 1, is always a little bit larger. And so sometimes I've gotten confused and used that as my increase. The problem is that when you take the thread and put it over your hook to make your double crochet, that this is going to be looser just because it is the nature of the double crochet. So be careful too that you're not surprised by that larger stitch before the regular increase area. Okay, one of the bad parts of making these lovies is the sizing. And unfortunately, they size the piece after it's stuffed. Okay, so you have to crochet an entire piece and close it and stuff it, and then you measure it. This is really a pain, but reality. So I'm trying to figure out a way that I can decide how large my lovie is before I go too far, turn it and stuff it and then measure it. I'm going to stop right here with this example and show you some pre-made things. This is a size B lovie. And you measure this. I know it's a C cup because if I turn it upside down, and this is the part that would nestle up against the breast, you take it from one of the vertexes, the points, to the opposite side. This is a 5. So therefore, it is a B cup. Now this is a stuffed finished piece and I'm measuring it. So how can I know in my piece here, if I measure across, that this is going to be a 5 when it is all stuffed? Remember, I'm a loose crocheter, so when I put the stuffing in, it's going to be stretched out. So unstretched is not the best way to measure this. Okay, I've got a few ideas. Here is the one that I started, and it is not stuffed, it's not finished, but I've got my stuffing here. And if I take it and do a pre-stuffing, I'm doing a lot of guesstimation here. Would I then be able to get a more accurate measurement across? Now there again, this measures 5.5. So maybe when I get it all finished, if it's a half a size bigger at this point, when I start my decreases, it's going to kind of pull it in. Perhaps that will be a way that I can measure for my own gauge and for my loose crocheting size hook that I'm using, the size yarn I'm using. You know, it's a guesstimation. Before I start the second of this pair, however, I am going to count the rows that I have made so that I make exactly the same rows the second time around. You always want to give them in pairs, even though a lot of mastectomies have only one breast being removed. But to be convenient, you'd maybe always want to make them in pairs. Okay, here is the piece that I'm going to work on. I'm going to stop my video right now because you don't need to see me going around and around. Presently, I'm at 5 posts per side, so the next round will be 6 and then an increase, 6 and an increase and 6. And I'm going to be making this sample to be a size A cup, so I will want to experiment a little bit with measuring once I get it to the point where I'm ready to turn. I'm going to let you crochet yours. I'm going to crochet mine, and I'll come back to you when I'm at that point where I want to have the turn rows. Talk to you later. Okay, I'm back again. I have my sample piece, which I'm hoping to be a size A. I have 12 posts between my increases. So that's 36 stitches on each, added up to each side, plus 6 more for the increase. So I have about 42 stitches around. Now, there again, this is just estimating what that, hopefully this will be when it's finished, stuffed, and so forth. I took a bunch of stuffing and I'm pre-stuffing just to see, holding it in, and then I'm measuring from the vertex of one of the points of the triangle to the opposite side. It's about 5 inches. Now, a size A has to, when it's stuffed completely and finished, it should be 4.5. So I'm about 1/2 inch larger than I think it should be. I'm now at the row that's going to turn from the front of the cup to the back. I have to decide if this is the correct side or this is the side that I want to have on the outside. I'm going to choose this as my outside. So in this turning row, I'm going to go into only the front loop as I'm crocheting across. I'll crochet a few and show you the look that I'm trying to achieve. This is where the back loop is going to appear. So when we have our finished piece, it will fold kind of right there. This is not imperative that you crochet in the front or the back loop so that you have one of the loops showing. I just think it's pretty, and practically speaking, I don't know if it has any practical use. Okay, I am approaching the chain 1 vertex, and here in this first turn row, I am going to just do 2 half double crochets. The reason for this is that when I make my next round, I'm going to put these together, and as I'm decreasing, I will always just put the 2 half double crochets together to start my decreasing of the project. Okay, I am the other day I was making one, and halfway between the rows, I started to, unfortunately, go through both loops. It doesn't make a bit of difference structurally. It just would look a little funny, but I have an idea that I'm the only one that's going to see the mistake. Okay, I'm at my turn, my vertex, and I'm doing 2 half double crochets. And I will come back when I'm at the end of my row. Okay, here I am at the end of my first turn row. I've just done my 2 half double crochets. And now I'm ready to start the second turn row. I'm going to once again just go through the front loops, and I'm going to single crochet 2 or 3. And then I'm going to make a buttonhole. This buttonhole, chain 3, skip 3, and then go into the 4th, is so that the user, well, let me just switch over to one that's pre-made. Here is one of my samples, and I've gotten the buttonhole right here. You can see the loops, so that is where it turns to the back. This is so that a client can easily take the stuffing in, stuffing out as needed. A small change in the stuffing can really make a difference in the contour of the piece. Okay, as I'm proceeding back here, I'm going to start decreasing 2 per side and 1 at the vertex. To decrease, I'm going to go in the front loop and the front loop of the next 2 and crochet together. Then remembering to stay in just the front, I'm going to get to my vertex. Well, I'm going to try to get to my vertex, and I'm going to single crochet both of these together. So in the end, in my decrease rows, I'm going to decrease 2 per side. It doesn't make a difference where, but try to do them proportionately. Decrease 2 at the end, or single crochet 2 together, and then the next row 2 in the middle. And your decrease is going to happen quite fast. Let me show you when that's been done. It's going to be a little bit holier, but you can see that I have very few rows until I'm down to about 1 inch when I'm going to stuff and do the final measurement of my Lovie. Okay, I have done the turning row. Here is my buttonhole, so I can let the person stuff it or unstuff it as they wish. I did single crochet in each of the chains. I did decrease at least 1 going to this corner, but then I started to decrease 2 each side and then decrease at the vertex. Now, this isn't as closed as I would normally make it, but now is a good time to stuff your piece, just to see if you're on track with the size that you want to make. Now, if you're making a whole bunch for your clinic, you can experiment and know how large you are making them. If you are making a particular size for a friend or a colleague, you'll want to be very exact now with how large it is. Okay, so here is, I'm going to just pull my thread just a little bit so that I don't lose it. I'm going to go from the vertex to the opposite side. It's not as clean as clear now that it's a triangle. But here's my vertex to my opposite side, and it's 4.5, which is a size A cup. When it was unstuffed and I hadn't turned it yet, it was 5 inches. So, you know, you want, if you are going to start measuring before you've turned it and before you started any decreases, make sure it's a 1/2 inch, even a little bit more, and then you'll be getting closer and closer to the correct size. I'm going to continue on until I'm ready to stuff, and then I will come back and join you. Okay, I'm to the point where I'd like to stuff this and then test it to see if it is a size A. I've got my 3 points. I've decreased to about 1 inch around. I've got my buttonhole that the client can then stuff or unstuff. And so now I'm going to take my stuffing and put it in, get it nice and tight against the point, and then make sure that stuffing goes in each of the points of the triangle. I have a wonderful technique for stuffing. Not so. But I'm trying to get it work together. And I'm going to do my final stuffing. And now you can see that it's stretched out a little bit. I'm going to take from this point over to this point, and it is 5, well, it's between 4.5 and 5. I wanted it to be 4, so I'm going to just pull some of this out. This is about 4.5. So it will be really nice for the client to be able to take stuffing in or out. I'm going to be able to just take the end. This is my original beginning. And I can just bring that inside. And no one needs to even know it's there. I don't want to cut it too short. No one's going to see it here anyway. Okay, now I have got it set. And I'm going to now, instead of single crocheting, I'm just going to slide stitch this closed. Notice, see, I'm just closing this up. Instead of going through the loop and then the next, I can just actually go into the next loop because it's at this point easier just to grab one loop. And then pull it out and give a snip. And then you have a Lovie completed, and it's 4.5 inches. I have now completed a sampling of every size that I'm going to be using for my Lovies. I'll take my samples to the clinics to make sure that these are the correct sizes for their clients. But I've got a size A, I have a B, here is a C, a D. The reason I'm making one of each is that, and I get them approved, is when I go and make a new one, a new Lovie, I can size it by comparing it to the ones that I have already made. To compare them, you take the vertex of the triangles, lay them together, and then just roll to see that the vertexes again meet. I don't have to do as much measuring, although I can't imagine me not measuring them each time too, but this will be a nice way to determine that they are correct. I hope you take a lot of pleasure in making this product. For the written instructions, please email crayonsbl@gmail.com and I'll send them to you. Any comments, please send them back. I'd like to hear from you. Have a great day.